Hi, everyone. Well, I am so excited to be back here with you guys. Thank you so much for your prayers for the surgery. Obviously, it went well, so thank you for all of that. But in today's broadcast, I've really been going over what has been going on this past week. And I just want to speak to you about what's truly going on because everything I feared is happening. And the truth of the matter is, it's going to get worse for us. And I wish I could say otherwise, at least through 2024, if we don't get the right people in. But I think in all reality, our livelihoods depend on it, especially with this two-tiered justice system. Because the bottom line here is, if the left is continually allowed to get away with stuff, like I'm going to show you here in a moment, and the right is not, and the right does nothing to stop the atrocity that we're witnessing. In other words, we do nothing and just allow them to prosecute us, as we have seen them do with Donald Trump, the meme maker, and many other people, including high-end journalists that have gone to prison who are on our side. Then I can only speculate and state that as long as nothing is done to stop it, things will get worse. They'll get emboldened to do more against us. And this is absolutely going to happen the way that I see it, because nothing is being done to stop it. So, therefore, what we're seeing today in an uneven justice system is about to get worse because no one is stopping anything, thereby giving them permission to do it even worse. And unfortunately, we have a Republican Party of do nothing do nothing idiots. And I'm sick and tired of them. We have to get the people in to the offices that actually do something about it so we can begin to make these changes. But before I do, just a quick break from my sponsor. Well, I am super stoked about my latest sponsor, Beam Dream. This stuff has literally radically changed my life for the better. If you're anything like me and maybe you have trouble sleeping at night or trouble just even sleeping through the night, then you're going to want to try this stuff out. I feel like I have so much more energy. I feel like a new person, honestly, which is exactly why I took them on as a sponsor, because, hey, if they can do this for me, I can only imagine what they can do for you. Now, Dream is basically a hot cup of cocoa that's formulated to help you get your best night's sleep. And by the way, this thing freaking tastes amazing. Well, all you have to do to check it out is go to shopbeam.com/Lisa Haven. That's shopbeam.com/Lisa Haven. Now, on top of it, right now, the numbers do not lie. In a clinical study, 93% of participants reported Dream helped them get a better sleep. But if you want to check out this product in full, all you have to do is scan this barcode and it'll go directly to the site. But scan that with your phone or your Android. And don't miss the limited time offer of a 50% discount. That's up to 50% off. So check it out by scanning that code right there or going directly to shopbeam.com/Lisa Haven. You can also click in the description box below. There is a link there, or click that more button. All right, back to the broadcast. By the way, this stuff is awesome. You guys really want to check it out. And I mean that from the heart. It really helped me, by the way, during my surgery, get some extra sleep there. But anyway, everything is exactly as I feared it would be. I have been warning since 2013, since I started this channel years ago, about 10 years ago, that stuff like this was going to happen, that we would end up in a police state. Well, exactly what I predicted back in 2013 is happening today. And I'm about to make another prediction to you guys based off of what is happening right now. For starters, let me show you how bad this two-tiered justice system is. Take a look. This is on BreitbartNews.com. Joe Biden to escape charges for mishandling classified documents. In other words, he's not going to get charged whatsoever. Nope, that is reserved for Donald Trump and Donald Trump alone, even though the crimes committed pertaining to these classified documents and specifically the handling of these classified documents, Joe Biden did stuff far worse than Trump ever did, because Joe Biden was vice president. He did not have the ability to unclassify documents like Donald Trump did. Now, we all know that there are about 37 charges against Donald Trump right now when it comes to this classified document case. Here's Reuters Trump document case. What are the charges? How can he defend against them? And you can see Trump was charged in an indictment unsealed a while back with 37 criminal counts for charges, including violations of the Espionage Act. So he's got 37 counts against him, and Joe Biden has none. Yet the mainstream media sides, as they always do, with a radical left Democrat Party. In fact, The Guardian put out a report, and I know some of this is a recap on the case, but I really want you to hear me out because I'm going somewhere with this. But The Guardian put out a report that says, oh, they're completely different cases, why Donald Trump is being charged and say Joe Biden isn't being charged. The truth of the matter is there's really not a difference, except for the fact that Donald Trump had the ability to unclassify documents. Joe Biden did not. Now, the reason that they were able to get away with it with Donald Trump was because Biden pulled Trump's executive privilege. And once he pulled his executive privilege regarding those classified documents, then boom, Biden's administration, his FBI swung in like a pack of wolves and raided his Mar-a-Lago home. Completely, in my opinion, illegal activity. But in other words, I believe this was a setup by Biden from the get-go in order to distract from his classified documents, which doesn't even matter anyway because they're not going after Joe Biden. But here's the Guardian report where they kind of detail the differences, which there really isn't much other than Donald Trump had more of a right than Joe Biden. But it's headline, Biden, Trump, and two very different classified document scandals. And here we are. They go Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. It says that Donald Trump had more than 11,000 documents, including 300 marked classified. Biden, they say, has 12, which is not true, by the way. Here is an article from Fox News. There are apparently 9 boxes of Biden documents that were taken from his Boston office. So obviously this number is inaccurate, and the mainstream media should be called out for that, but they're not, because again, we have a one-sided system. We have a one-sided media. We have a one-sided justice system, right? It goes on a little more about where it was contained. He said in a locked basement in his Mar-a-Lago resort, and Biden's was in a locked closet in the Biden Center and in his home in Delaware. No difference. I don't care where you have it locked up. How were they found? Found by the FBI, found by his lawyers during a search. What happened to the documents? Trump sued for an independent review, which was eventually dismissed. And he had every right to sue because he was the former president of the United States and he has a right to those classified documents. His executive privilege gave him that, which again, Biden revoked. But Biden, however, the Penn Biden Center documents were returned to federal authorities. And they took possession of it. That's the difference that they're trying to say. Again, the problem therein lies. Joe Biden had no right to the documents. He was vice president. He could not unclassify them. It goes into where the documents were, who's investigating it. It really doesn't matter, and the charges. And of course, they say what's in the documents. Well, we know all of what's in Trump's documents, but Biden's have not yet been made public, at least at the writing of that article. So we really have no freaking clue because they're hiding the information from us regarding Biden. Now, when you take all of that into consideration, we know with absolute certainty that they're treating two cases completely differently. They're ignoring what happened with Biden and they're throwing it in our faces. The Republican Party is doing their House committee investigation, and all they could do as a result of this House committee investigation is recommend charges from Biden's Department of Justice and Biden's FBI, which will end up in not any persecution, not any charges whatsoever. Joe Biden will get away scot-free. Trump, on the other hand, is already being indicted. He's already in court with these documents and going to court for these documents, which tells us, again, this is an uneven justice system. Now, here's the kicker. Congress really has no power or have shown no strength to do anything against this. Therefore, the message that we have left to the left and those in the Biden administration are, it's okay to have an uneven justice system. It's okay to prosecute Trump and nobody do anything about it and not prosecute Biden. Why? Because the mainstream media is on Joe Biden's side. They're not covering the facts of the story. They're not covering the real information. And they're hiding the information from the American public, acting as if Joe Biden is completely innocent. We also have the Department of Justice saying he's completely innocent. We're not going after any charges for Joe Biden. And unfortunately, not you guys, because you guys are awake, but a majority of the American public just says, okay, whatever the media says, whatever the administration says goes. He's innocent, Trump's guilty. So therefore, what that tells me is, again, we've given the green light to have an uneven justice system. Mark my words, it is not going to stop at just court cases. It is going to go more extreme. If we give them, so to speak, a bite of the cookie, they're going to take an even bigger bite of the cookie when it comes to injustices on the right. In other words, their actions and their uneven justice system is going to get more uneven for us on the right because nothing has been done to stand against the atrocities of the uneven justice system. Things will get worse. Here's another example, by the way. How about the fact that House officials, the DNC, was recently on lockdown due to violent radical protest from their own side, from pro-Palestinian people. Take a look at this. And this is on Axios. House officials locked down as lawmakers are evacuated from DNC protest. Lawmakers were evacuated from the DNC headquarters and House office buildings locked down on Wednesday after law enforcement clashed with protesters pressing for a ceasefire in Israel-Hamas war. Why it matters. The incident, which resulted in an arrest, by the way, marks the latest in a series of large demonstrations on Capitol Hill over the Middle East conflict that has been putting Capitol security on the edge. The DNC was hosting a Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee candidate event at the time with multiple Democratic leaders present, including Majority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and 2 House Democrats, Axios said. What they're saying, the Capitol Police said in a statement that 6 officers were treated for injuries, ranging from minor cuts to being pepper sprayed to being punched. One protester, was arrested for assault on an officer, they said. The other side, If Not Now, which led the protests along with other left-wing pro-Palestinian groups, said in a statement Thursday morning that over 90 protesters were injured in the clash. That's an awful lot. And furthermore, the Capitol Police told congressional staff in an alert on Wednesday night that they were working to keep back approximately 150 people who were illegally and violently protesting. One House Democrat who was present at the DNC told Axios, "It scared me more than January 6th," recounting that they were about to leave and return to the Capitol when police told them not to exit. Okay. So here we have crimes committed against the DNC, violent acts happening against 6 police officers, pepper sprayed, punched, hurt. And we have literally a Democrat saying this is worse than January 6th. And yet, 1 arrest has been made. Over 150 of them were being illegal and rioting, but 150 people were not arrested. Instead, they got nothing but a slap on the hand. 1 person arrested. Why? Because we have an uneven justice system. And this goes to show that how they treated January 6ers, who we literally had people who did nothing more than walk on the property. They didn't even have lines of where you weren't allowed to walk, but they walked on the property and they were literally in jail for months just for quote unquote trespassing, which by the way, they had permits for and committed no violent acts. That's happened on numerous occasions. And we've had thousands of people arrested, tried, and had to go to court. And even people who weren't there, who are now behind bars for over 20 years, I believe it is, the leader there of the Proud Boys. But this doesn't seem like an equal kind of justice system when people who did nothing violent were arrested and sent to jail. Yet here we have one arrest being made, nobody going to jail. And we have a Democrat who was just as scared as January 6th, and nothing happens to these people who violently, according to the source, who were violent there. Oh, and don't worry, Axios tries to spin it, because that is what mainstream media does, and says, well, it was the cops' fault. The cops were being violent, so they had to act in response. Well, you could say the same thing about any riot, and that doesn't give them a right either, because that's the job of the cop. The cop is supposed to settle things down. Now, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. That's beside the point. I'm against violence, period. Let me make that clear. On any side of the fence, that a police officer has to calm the situation down in the ways that the police department tell him to do that, right? But either way, what I want you to really understand here is how in your face it is. And again, did anybody make an outrage about these people not being arrested, nothing being done to them? There's an entire FBI investigation going on with January 6th, who, by the way, I want to show this because Justice Knight did a huge report on Restricted Republic about this. Hopefully you guys are there. Christopher Wray gets caught. Representative Higgins releases photos of the secret J6 ghost buses. Now, according to the representative there, those ghost buses, according to him, were filled with FBI agents, which, we still don't really have the information on what really happened and how many FBI informants were there. But either way, I just want to reiterate, it is not an even justice system if they've already shown us that they could massively persecute January 6ers for doing stuff like just trespassing on Capitol grounds, and then do nothing to these DNC protesters who did the exact same thing. I can guarantee you that in the future, when these things happen, anybody on the right is going to get double to triple the punishments, potentially, that we saw on January 6ers. Why? Because nothing was done about it. The mainstream media is in on it. The Biden administration's in on it. The DOJ, the FBI, they're all in on it. And there's no one really standing up for us on the right. That is why I just want to hearken you, be ready, be prepared, because we're living in a pretty shitty time. We are not a free country, and the system is uneven. In fact, they were even blocking roads. Some of these protesters here, take a look. Fox News, pro-Palestinian protesters block bridges in Boston and San Francisco during rush hour. Again, little to no consequences for them either. In fact, I wanted to look up a little more who was funding this activity. And I came across this Gateway Pundit article, and take a look here. You'll never guess who's helping fund and coordinate the radical pro-Hamas protesters happening in America right now. And according to this, it's not George Soros, but no, this is being done by Code Pink activist Jody Evans and her Marxist multi-millionaire husband. And you can see them there. They are apparently the ones funding a lot of this, these riots that are happening right now across the United States of America. Meanwhile, the media is quiet about voices who are standing for Israel. I mean, if you're going to be fair media news network, why not report on both events, the pro-Palestine and the pro-Israel story? But they're not, because they're feeding us, the American people, a one-sided story. Take a look. This is also on Gateway. Liberal Washington Post buries story of 300,000 people marching for Israel in D.C. in its metro section. So there you have it. Anyway, I wanted to bring all of this to you. I've been really thinking about it this week. about everything that's going on. But mark my words, it's going to get worse for us until we get the right people into office. So just be ready, be prepared, and take precautions. Anyhow, I love you all. Thanks for listening. I'm Lisa Haven signing out.